Hey, what's up guys, and welcome in today's video in which I will talk about my game experience with the Well Minigun in combination with the SSP5 in the carbine kit. It's the first game day I had with this gun, and it's also the first game day I had with the mass production of the carbine kit, so I think I have some good opinions on both of these. I'm gonna start with the minigun and then I'm gonna work my way through the rest of the setup. First I'm gonna do the positive things about the minigun, but quick spoiler, yeah, I really don't think this is a very playable gun. It's more for the lols and for the attention. But yeah, let's get into the detail. It's very rare, I haven't seen it a lot around, and it is a minigun, so people just kind of go like, whoa, what's this? Oh, it's turning, they want to shoot it, get positive reactions. So I think it's very nice for that. Or maybe you run a field and you have a juggernaut game. It only shoots 0.4 to 0.5 joules, so you're not gonna drive people mad. It's just kind of epic, it's a minigun. Also, what's positive about it, I really believe this is the most usable minigun out there because you can properly shoulder it, you can, do shoulder transitions, you can actually aim down the barrels. And even though it has quite little power, I think it's still a lot more useful than bigger previous models from Classic Army. This lineup from WellPro, these are the most useful miniguns. They also have a bit longer ones with a bit more power. So much about that. I also liked that it was reliable, worked all the time. The magazines fed absolutely flawlessly. So given that this is such a niche product, they did a really good job. The filling is incredibly easy. The handling of the whole rifle is also quite well done, right? Considering that it has 4 barrels, the hop-up adjustment is fairly doable given how different this system is compared to a standard AG. And yeah, the fact that I can shoulder it, that's just a game changer compared to the, the kind of awkward miniguns which you have to hold like this. I was never really a fan of these. Now, the negative part. When you play with this thing, you have something heavy with high rate of fire, but you're absolutely lacking power. I think low power is not really a complaint, but the low range is a complaint, right? I think I could shoot maybe 20 meters or something like this. Everything beyond that, and I had this multiple times that I saw a guy just running across the field and you think, hey, I have like a high volume gun, I can just totally take this guy down. The BBs just didn't reach because the guy was 30 meters away, so really close actually, and any gun could do that, but this one couldn't. Really disappointing actually. On top of that is the accuracy. Now, at this rate of fire, I feel like accuracy is not that big of a concern because eventually one of the BBs will hit. Yeah, you can shoulder it and you can aim, but you can't really expect your BBs to go where the red dot is. So it is neat that you can shoulder it, but at the same time, it is also, because of the lack of range and accuracy, maybe it's not even that needed and you might as well just run it handheld. I also didn't like the safety of that thing. I don't even know how often it happened. I think at least 3 or 4 times that I didn't get someone. Like even your trigger thing, if you go straight, you push this lever into the safe position. So many times, and this is also not the most tactile thing, I just put this thing into safe, and I had to learn that when I grab this, similar to how it is on a high capper, I just had to keep my thumb on the fire select all the time. And then when you do a change, a shoulder change, then you have to memorize it on the other side. So because of that safety, I was taken down 2 or 3 times. That was kind of annoying. For me, it was also a bit of a long boy because, of the camera setup. Now, this is not for, you're probably not going to run it like this if you get one of these. This makes for a great camera angle. So for me, it makes absolutely sense because my goal was really to make a cool video. But if you don't have this, it's a rather compact rifle, yeah? So that is something nice. Sling setup. Yeah, I don't know, these, like all of these holes here, they're not QD, they're also too small for the hooks, like you couldn't go directly through them, so we had to attach a paracord here. That was also not that ideal, but you can work around it, not too bad. Optic height, you definitely need, as soon as you run a mask, and I think even without mask, this stock is so wide that the height difference between stock and rail is too little. So you need to put a riser. I did do that, so I could work around it. But it would also be nice if it's out of the box already at a bit of a ratio where it makes sense that you can use it out of the box with a standard optic. Now, how did I actually use this thing in-game? It is an issue that when you see someone further than 30 meters, you can't hit that person, right? That's very limiting, especially in an outdoor field. Yeah, if you use it in CQB, like I did for some part of the game, then it works. Yet, most CQB fields don't allow full auto. I actually had to talk to the game organizer. They made a special rule for this replica because it's so weak. They said, yeah, it's okay, you can use it on full auto. That's not always given, and maybe you run into the issue of it not being allowed in CQB, and then you're limited to outdoor spaces where this range is just, it's not enough, right? So the way I was running it was kinda as my sidearm. It sounds very weird, yeah, a minigun sidearm. But this was my primary. So that was the SSP5 with the HB adapter, I was running it at 0.4s on 1.5 joule, meaning that, you know, I have quite some range. I have the same or even better range than most AHGs on the field. You know, the minigun just hangs on my side. Let's do that real quick so you guys get an idea of how that would look like. So that's how I had the minigun. That's how I had my SSP5, maybe even here a little bit more on the side. So I was running around. If a guy pops out really far away, I can engage. If there's someone really close, I can engage. And then I had these situations where, you know, maybe there's someone 10, 50 meters away and I pinned him down behind cover with the SSP5, and then I thought, okay, now I could actually charge. And then I put this thing away, I grabbed the minigun and I just went for it, right? And when I say went for it, with this thing, and that's kind of nice about it, you can just switch it to fire and you fire while you run to the cover. It's small and light enough that you can actually pull it off. So you run really fast, shoot while you run, and you just run around the corner, and then I got the guy. That was really satisfying. It was a fun way of doing it. It also worked at this field because there weren't too many players. So yeah, I slinged it for a majority of the game. And again, this was kind of my go-to. Now on this thing, I really fell in love with this carbine kit because it's kind of like a primary, but you holster it, you know, and it's not that big. 1.5 joule with 0.4s. I have more than 100 BBs. That was a, you know, quite nice experience. So yeah, this is definitely something that I will be using in the future as well, especially if I run a sniper rifle or if I run a rifle that doesn't have the range, then this is, you know, kind of like a primary in your holster, which is quite nice. If that would be too powerful for you, you could also put the 5.1 inch SSP5 in there, because that would give you 1 joule, right? So you can also use it in CQB without any issues. There's no minimum engagement distance or anything like this. I did put a front grip here in front. You wouldn't really need that. You could also, you know, you can actually C-clamp an SSP5, which is very funny, C-clamping a pistol, but it does work. I did like, however, that there's something stopping my hand at the end. I did run a rise on here just because I had to have the camera, but with the stop dropping this much, you wouldn't have to do this. You could have the red dot directly on the rail and you can still aim quite nicely. Other than this, I didn't do anything to this carbine kit. It's as it comes. In mass production, these charging handles will be black, so it will not look like this. So overall, I did enjoy playing with this just because it was different and I only planned to use it for 1 game, so it was kind of fine. Would I recommend it to anyone as a, you know, staple of their airsoft collection? Not really, right? They are not that cheap, and then in the end, you're very limited in range, so you can only bring it to so many games, and if they don't allow full auto in CQP, then why do you really get it in the end, right? So yeah, that's my 2 cents on the Well Minigun. This is actually quite innovative, this product, especially for this price. I hope they keep innovating. I hope they keep pushing cool stuff. I just wish that they would consider a little bit more how playable these things are, because they came really close. Again, this is probably the most playable minigun series out in the market, but they still missed a few details where, you know, I don't recommend it yet. Alright, that's my impression on the minigun. If you want to check out the gameplay, you can find it on the main channel, and don't forget to subscribe to the NOVRITSCH Backstage channel. It's a new channel. I'm trying out different formats, so any feedback is appreciated, and any subscription is appreciated as well.